is Stefani. I'm 29 years old, born in Connecticut, raised in Florida, Daytona Beach. I was raised with parents that were drug addicts, unstable. My earliest memory of my parents and I was my dad was being chased by my mother with a knife, and my dad was using me as a shield. Also, one of the other earliest memories of my childhood was my parents would lock me in the bathroom and bedroom for hours at a time, and I would feel so alone and feel that, why doesn't anyone care about me? Why doesn't anyone love me? And I would cry, and my mom threw me a pack of cigarettes and a lighter, and I ended up smoking cigarettes. And then I was back and forth between my parents and my grandpa. Then my grandpa died when I was 7 years old, and me and my two sisters were separated. I went to Japan for 5 years. In that time, I was abused, physically, mentally abused by my aunt, my uncle, and molested by my cousin for 5 years. When I was 12 years old, I moved back to Florida with my father, and my mom and dad were separated at that time, and they ended up getting back together. I ended up being raped by 3 black boys and held down. They took turns. I was in middle school at the time, and at the time I told on them. They, at the school, they said that it was my fault for having sex on grounds, and I got suspended. So I wanted to die, and I attempted to, and I tried to kill myself, and they put me in a mental institution. At that time, my parents had custody of me, and they got drug tested, and I was taken away and put in foster care. From 12 to 17, I was in and out of detention centers for battery, just dumb stuff. I was very angry. I was sad, everything. When I was 16, my mom died. I was waiting for a program in the detention center, and after that, I was numb to the world. I didn't want nothing to do with anybody. I didn't want anyone to be let into my life. When I was 18, I was introduced to crack cocaine by a man. And after that, I ended up doing anything and everything for the drug. I was so in love with the drug because it took me away from reality. I ended up getting my first charge when I was 19 years old. I was convicted. I became a convicted felon. From 19 to 26, I was in and out of jails, in rehabs, constantly. Also, when I was 19, when I first went to jail, I was introduced to God. I really didn't know. I knew of God, but I never had a relationship with Him, never was saved, and I got saved. And when I got out, I continued to do the same thing I was doing. I was escort, stripper, prostitute. I just continued to do it. And I felt ashamed about myself and the situations I put myself in. I was in relationships that I got abused. The men would take my money, tell me that, I would only love them. And I was so ashamed because I turned my back on God, and, I just loved the drug as well. It took me away from the pain that I endured during my life. When last year, 2012, I met a man, Nick, and we had our ups and downs. And then 2013, he told us to let's get out of this town in Daytona Beach, Florida. And we ended up coming here, Amsterdam, New York, 2013 in September. At the time, we still had our ups and downs. I ended up breaking up with him, and I ended up homeless. And then that's when I started to go to St. Mary's outpatient, and I didn't know what to do, so I asked my counselor to help me out, and they recommended the Lighthouse for women. So before I went to the Lighthouse, I had to wait for my bed, and I met She is the director of Haven and Hope, and she invited me in her home. I stayed there a month and a half. She fed me. She bought me hygiene products. She took care of me. Haven and Hope took care of me. Through that time, she came and visited me. When I went to the Lighthouse November 11th, 2013, she came to visit me. She invited me over for Christmas dinner. It was amazing. It is amazing. We always talk about Jesus and how good Jesus is, and God sent me. God sent me her, and Haven and Hope, and I would not, I don't think I would be where I'm at today without Haven and Hope. They believed in me like no one else would. They cared for me like a family has. They helped me with obstacles I can't do for myself at this moment. Pay bills, phone bills, electric bills, let me do my laundry, give me food when I have no food. Give me work experience that I have no experience in, baking, gardening, just a bunch of stuff. And through Haven and Hope, they help women that can't help themselves at the moment, and they encourage us, and they give us hope. And I don't know where I'd be without them at this moment. And thanks to them, I successfully completed the Lighthouse. And June 12th, 2014, I will be completing St. Mary's outpatient successfully. I have an apartment. I am getting married to Nick. We are both very much in God. Pat and Haven and Hope has reassured me that God is the way, the truth, and the light. Has been an amazing experience for me to have God put Haven and Hope in my life. And I have no idea where I would be without them. I'm just following God's will and what He wants me to do. Thank you, Haven and Hope, for having faith in me and giving me a second chance when no one else would. Thank you.